Pete Cordelli, Ellis Johnson. Dave Bartoo is going to try to check in with us if he can. Coach Matt Dean back from New York. Look, I watched 4 football games over the weekend. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to argue, what are these group of 5 schools doing in the playoff? I don't want to see a separate playoff, but man, got to be more competition out of them because Notre Dame didn't get in. And you could make an argument, long shot, Texas and those 30 million people in Texas we know of, that would have been a big deal. But it didn't happen. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to discuss it today. But first, take a picture with your phone of the QR code. We are live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. 8 channels simultaneously. Take it, share it, like it, like us. Tell your friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, co-workers, enemies, people that you just see on the street. Say, hey, are you watching Sidelines? Because if they're not, well, they're obviously, as Fred Ferreris used to say, they're misinformed. They're just not informed. But, guys, the color TV was cranking this weekend. Ellis had a great quote that he sent me on the text, and he said, Rob, I don't think any of these teams that I saw play are going to win the whole thing. So the Big Four sat on and watched. I'm sure they were practicing. Georgia, Texas Tech, and Ohio State, and Indiana. Now, what does this say a lot about the duality of college football today? The duality of man. That the winningest program in terms of national championships in college football history, Alabama with 18 or 19, whatever it is, and Indiana, the losingest program in the history of college football, are going to meet in the Rose Bowl, guys, and Indiana is a 6-point favorite. That's perfectly insane is all I can say. So start right now. Pete, when you look at that, I'll go with, Pete first and then Ellis and then Matt, get y'all's opinions on this. But Pete, what shocked you over the weekend besides Indiana's a 6-point favorite over Alabama?
Oklahoma being up 17-0 and then allowing Alabama to come back and score 27 unanswered.
Wow.
That one was really, when you have a chance to put somebody away, forget about Oklahoma, Alabama, who the team is. When you're up 17-0, and it could have been more if the young guy blocks the punt. Yeah. I don't know how he missed that. But to allow Alabama to come back and score 27 unanswered, Dave Bartoo tells us momentum is real. You can measure it now. And his criteria is if you score 17 unanswered, that you win 92, 93% of the time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wow, Oklahoma's up 17-0 at home. What a big game this is going to be. And then all of a sudden, things turn. And how about that freshman on 4th down making the catch and then the effort to get into the end zone?
Yeah.
Guys, Alabama's done this twice on the road. At Auburn, they do it to win the game.
Yeah.
Then they do it with this young freshman. But then the punter from Oklahoma. And so now momentum starts to change and you're going, yeah. And then Mateer predetermines, never looks at the coverage. Alabama baits him. They go 3-man rush, 3-5-3, and he just drops back, throws the ball out to the left flat. Well, it was complete, but to the wrong team. And, all of a sudden, it's like, what are you doing? And from then on, and I'm happy to see, finally, the Alabama defense gets unleashed.
Yeah.
Where has that been all year? That's why those guys came to Tuscaloosa. Let the big dogs eat. I'm going to tell you, those 2 kids inside now, they couldn't be blocked.
Yeah.
That was a great defensive performance once they let them go, man. So that one surprised me more than the Ole Miss game. That was going to happen. The momentum was all there. The one thing I will say about Ole Miss, Charlie Weiss called a heck of a game. Everybody said Lane Kiffin wasn't on the sideline. There wasn't any input. Charlie did that. Okay. Then Oregon, look, they come out great first half. I think they substituted some guys in the second half on defense. James Madison's not bad, but you make a great point. Notre Dame, I think, would have been a better opponent.
Yeah.
So, and then the best game of them was obviously A&M and Miami. And the Miami offensive line took over, and the Fletcher kid, Freight Train Fletcher is what they're calling him now, the big running back, man,
Yeah.
getting it done. But man, those kickers, how can you be at A&M and not have a kicker that can hit chip shots?
Well,
So there were some things that came out that said, wow, how did this team
yeah.
get this far? But you know what? I'm really, really excited about this next round of games.
All right, well, Pete, I want to say this before we go to Ellis. Coming into the game, Ellis Johnson, defensive coordinator, 43 years of experience, winning national championships, playing for him. John Mateer's stats, and I know he's been injured, and he's had screws in his thumb and blood coming out of his hand in the Cotton Bowl and the Red River Shootout. But his stats coming into this game against Alabama for the whole season against Power 4 teams were 8 touchdown passes and 8 picks. And that's that Oklahoma's defense. If Brent Venables isn't one of the elite defensive coordinators in college football, I'm 7'3". I'm just saying that.
Yeah, no question about that. And they've done it all year long too. But at some point in time, you can't win in the national championship playoff with just being a one element team. And
Right.
Mateer, I mean, he's a competitor. We know he's tough, but you got to be a little bit more than that. Same thing with the Reed kid. We've been talking about that on Texas A&M. It just comes 2 or 3 of these big plays in 2 or 3 of these big games, and they're just not up to it. So that was disappointing. But it was sort of a flip-flop of the first time they met. OU outgains them in just about every way there is, but they drop a punt snap, and then they throw a pick six. And, they didn't play OU ball in that way. I felt like OU kind of gave it away and beat themselves, and they would have a hard time in this next round. The other game, y'all said the game was a really good game with Miami and Texas A&M. It was. I think we finally have to go back and admit Texas A&M played 7 of the bottom 9 teams in the SEC.
Yep.
And they beat San Antonio, Utah State, Samford, and they did beat Notre Dame at the very beginning of the year when they also lost to Miami, cost them the playoffs. And that's not the same Notre Dame team as now. But the difference in that game were the 2 quarterbacks. And Beck wasn't flashy or outstanding, but he took care of the football, and Reed didn't. And that was the difference for them. And Miami may be the only football team. They certainly were the only football team this weekend that had a running game. I watch college football now, and they've all turned it into Pascal with pads on, man. It's just nobody can run the football. I think it's because they're just not able to commit to putting the lead blocker in the schemes. And a lot of them don't want to run the gap plays because it's a little bit harder to run the RPOs off of that. And it's just gotten to be zone, RPO, and you look up at the end of the game and you rush for 50 yards, and throw the ball around. But I think Oregon's got the best shot at this next round because of the matchup. Texas Tech's not a balanced football team. But if I had to put my money, I would bet on all the 4 people that sat out this weekend. And Oregon can win this weekend. I don't think any of them can make it to the final and win the whole thing. But I hate to be negative. There's some bad football this weekend, guys.
Yeah. Let me throw something. And Ellis Johnson just nailed it. And Ellis, you and Pete on here recently said, Marcel Reed, you put pressure on him. He's a different quarterback. And Pete, you talked about watching that in high school at NBA. So I want to say some trends that I saw coming in, Coach Matt Dean. 4 times A&M prior to the Miami game had given up 200-plus yards rushing. That's not good. Another thing, a coach that I used to see him working out, swimming over at the Y all the time, very wise offensive line coach, coached 38 years, mainly in Division III, went to Augustana College up in Illinois. Get yourself a new map, Illinois. No, Coach Gordon Ellingsworth, Coach E. He was telling me one time, he said, y'all know him. He goes, Rob, I was at a conference in the maybe early or mid-'90s about the future of college football and the offensive line. And he said, a coach named Art Kehoe, great offensive line coach. Y'all all remember him at Miami. He said, guys, the future of college football ain't going to be the running game like we've grown up with. It's going to be these divas, these wide receivers. And it's going to all be about, get the ball to me. I'm open every time. And if we let that happen, we're going to have a lot of unnecessary drama. And they're going to soften football. Was he right? Coach Matt Dean from Davenport, Iowa, checks in with us right now on the Morning Landers Hotline.
Hey, guys, it's great to be on. And, I listened to you yesterday, Coach Cordelli, and spot on. And Coach Johnson, you're always spot on. I will tell you about Coach Ellingsworth. His teammate at Augustana was a guy named Kenny Anderson who played for the Bengals. Right. I think if I'm right, Pete, he just got inducted by the senior committee in the Hall of Fame. So
yes.
Pretty cool thing. Ken Anderson was a great quarterback, but started at Division III Augustana, which is right across the river from where I grew up. Yep. Now, I want to go to what Coach Cordelli said, and I heard him say it yesterday. Spot on. If the Oklahoma punter just kicks that ball 40 yards for a fair catch, hell, 30, 35, I don't care. It's probably 17-7 at half. Yeah. I'm not sure the time when that happened, Coach, but you get the 3 right after the block. Mm-hmm. Immediately you get the pick 6, and momentum had shifted, and at that point it was Alabama's football game. And you know what? You were right, Coach. They were almost 24-0. They barely missed the block punt themselves. They had a hard time. Bama couldn't get a first down. If you remember the first 3 series, guys, they get that special play with the wide receiver to make it 17-7, and then Oklahoma imploded. I was shocked because really I just felt like if Oklahoma ran the football and punted, I'm not sure how many points Alabama would have got. But once momentum shifted, I think the game changed. Now in Oregon, Coach, one of the things I will tell you, if you were on social media yesterday, there's a couple backup DBs now in the portal from Oregon Ducks University. They played 32 guys in the second half on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of 2s and 3s. When I talked to my son yesterday, I was like, well, you still won by 3 scores. He goes, Dad, you don't understand. We're not happy right now because that was not their standard. They were coming in as a 4th in the country defensive unit. And in the first half, they control the game. It's 34-3, a minute to go. Dante Moore, 5 touchdowns and 5 drives. On a comeback route, the wide receiver slipped, the ball pops up, JMU gets the pick, they go down and make it 34-6. That game could have been 41-3 at half. So I think you're in a really tough spot sometimes as a head coach, guys. You're trying to stay healthy. You're trying to give these other guys an opportunity because you got agents involved now saying, if my kid doesn't play, we're going to leave you guys before the next round. It's gone bonkers. Coach, you said this a few weeks ago about they're now talking about trying to get paid for the playoffs too. They want a piece of the pie, just like the NFL wildcard game, championship, all this stuff. There's so much stuff going on behind the scenes right now that the playoff teams are dealing with. If you're not in the playoffs, you're managing it pretty well because you're not in the playoffs. And the last thing I want to say to you guys, because I know we always talk about best hires in the offseason, Pat Fitzgerald, who I think is the best hire in the offseason, just made one of the best hires of the whole portal, the whole year, got LeVar Woods from Iowa, special teams coach, was recruited and played for Hayden Fry, played on Kirk's first 2 football teams, has been with Kirk since he came back from the NFL, tremendous recruiter. Last year, Hayden gave the assistant coach title to linebacker coach Seth Wallace. So I think part of LeVar leaving to go with Pat gave him the title. It will help him become a head coach someday. LeVar is 48. But I'm going to tell you what, guys, I know we're talking about the current playoffs. Michigan State is going to take a huge jump in the next 2 years. You watch. And they're going to I think they'll overtake Michigan soon because of the hire Fitzgerald and the LeVar Woods.
And the turmoil in Ann Arbor, the cesspool Michigan, there.
Yeah, it's crazy up there.
Hey, and listening to coaches, the way y'all break it down, and Pete, you look like your head's about your screen. There you go. Okay, sorry.
Right.
I was going to say, when you listen to what y'all are saying, all 3 of y'all coaches, and it reminds me of that great line in Tommy Boy when he said, I can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a bull's, rear end, but I'll take my butcher's word for it. That 1, 2, 3 hit right there from these 3 coaches is great stuff. That's what separates this show from the pack. Pete, what he just said, you got kids. I would tell those kids, don't you ever come back on this campus. Don't you ever come back in this county. Don't you ever wear anything. I'm sorry. This opting out is a new word. It came up big during the virus for quitting. If you make quitting acceptable and okay, you are beginning on the road to the end of everything that's good about sports. And because sports teach you the lessons of life. How many times a day do we reference some hard-ass coach that we had? It doesn't matter what grade or high school or college, that would not let us quit. I bet you Dan Lanning about blew a gasket, Pete. And
there's no
eyeballs
doubt.
are about to pop out of his head.
No, there's no doubt. Look, when the four of us were in high school, think about the male teachers that were in the building. Every one of them probably had a military background.
Yep.
And then Ellis, you went to West Point. You had brothers at West Point.
He went to Citadel.
I mean, you went to the Citadel, but you had brothers at West Point.
Yeah.
My middle brother went to West Point. But when we were in high school, there was a standard that we had to live up to because those male teachers weren't going to put up. And there were some female teachers. I'm not trying to separate male from, but just the background and the training that we had. And Rob, your point about quitting, that was never a thought. That word was never used. Vanderbilt University found out last night that Eli Stowers, their big tight end, is opting out of the bowl game.
God.
He's getting ready for the draft. So now we're seeing it with Vanderbilt. It'll be interesting to see how many other players opt out. But Matt, you're right. The Oregon deal, when they started substituting those players, it was, how do I balance my team and not get my starters injured? And then the interesting thing I heard on the broadcast of the Oregon game was that Dante Moore saying, I'm only 20 years old. I may come back for another year of college. And I'm like, wow, there's a young guy that's got it all in perspective. And then you start looking at the three running backs that are coming back. And
two freshmen,
the offensive line, and you're going, you know what? Why not take a couple more million to stay? And we really got a shot next year as well. But this idea that we can let people out of a contract that you signed, you have to play the entire contract. This isn't the NFL where we can put you on waivers. There's got to be more of a commitment, but the one group that is screwing it up every day are the agents.
Yeah.
And with the portal window coming up January 2nd through the 16th, which is going to get on us pretty quick, I promise you those Christmas dinner table discussions are going to be about, okay, what are our options? Where can we go?
Yeah.
And I just, coaches are pulling their hair out, trying to talk to their team about commitment.
Yeah.
There is no commitment. There is no loyal. It's not about being loyal, but hey, we developed you.
Yeah.
Can I give you guys a stat that I just got a little while ago? Starts by recruits and starts by transfers. Georgia has 90% of their starts by recruits.
Yep.
They have 10% by transfer. Ohio State, 72% by recruits, 28% transfer. Oklahoma, 68% recruit, 32. Alabama, 63%, 37. Oregon, 57% recruits, 42%. Ole Miss, 34% recruits, 66% transfer. Indiana, 35% recruits, 65% transfer. That's because when Cignetti left James Madison, they took 16 players with him.
Yeah.
But the other thing he's done is he's implemented the quarterback. Well, look, you guys have all been we've all been in locker rooms. And all of a sudden the question now is, hey, Coach Johnson, what are you getting? What are you getting, Coach Dean? What are you getting, Coach Browne? And all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, why is this dude getting this when I'm, and it's human nature. But I said yesterday, Rob, there's no leadership right now in where this is going. And every NFL team this weekend, starting with the Thursday night game, the Saturday afternoon games, the Sunday games, and the game tonight, every coach on the sideline had sweatshirts and hoodies on that said, inspire change. I hope all the college football coaches will wear that sweatshirt, take that logo, inspire change, and put it on their game day apparel as we move forward. We all know what the problem is, but we have nobody willing to stand up and say, here's how we're going to change it.
Yeah.
Is it better for the game? Is it better for the players?
Yeah.
How are we going to inspire change when we don't even know who's leading us?
Yeah. Well, Coach Johnson, it reminds me as a financial advisor all these years when people would say something about a stock or something with an advisor. Where'd you hear that? Well, I'm serious. I hear that the guy painting my house. Well, how high on fumes was that guy? I mean, and they would say, it's unbelievable. These agents and these runners, y'all know what I'm talking about. They are not putting the best interest. They are greedy, parasitic, vulgar people for most of them. And a legitimate agent can be wonderful. They get 3 or 4%, but these agents are getting 15 to 20%, which is like the people the salesman that comes to your office and said, I'd like to come to my office located conveniently in the trunk of my car. so he can make it a quick escape. Does this remind you, Ellis, of a Monday morning staff meeting? I guarantee you, this is great stuff. And you're right. Inspire change. We got to have leadership and all this stuff about, it's a different era. You can't be tough on these kids. Look at the 4 teams that sat out. Dan Lanning. Okay. Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, Kurt Signetti. I mean, these guys are, it is, to me, it's unbelievable. The tough coaches, Ellis, are the ones that have the best shot to win the whole thing. The soft peddling, go along to get along types, they're just going to get paved over.
Yeah, the players, there's no loyalty anymore. And you really said it right about the agents. And there's one other group in this thing that can be pretty rotten and unpredictable and unaccountable. And they're called coaches. And they started all this shit. They've been moving around, jumping around, taking better deals and leaving teams before the season's over, before the players started it. And I mean, I'm saying that kind of sarcastically, but you go back and look, they're the ones who are making the big bucks and leaving teams and jumping a long time before the players started doing it. Yeah. I just can't believe nobody had the foresight or either some legality or something that I don't understand. But these contracts they sign have got to be enforceable. That's, at least. Now, once a coach leaves, everybody on the team ought to have a free way if they want to go. But it just right now, I can understand. But, and as bad as the agents are, with what they're dealing with, I mean, it's like open season. Like y'all going duck hunting, Rob, out there when damn flood those fields down in Stuttgart. They're coming. Just hope you have enough bullets in the damn gun because, I mean, it's open season. And that's the way it is. I mean, there's no rules. So they're going to come and go. And if they don't, somebody else is going to come and go. And so I don't know. It's just a total mess. And I think that we this weekend we saw a little bit of what Dave was saying when he was talking more about the SEC. But there's some bad ball going on right now. It's entertaining, it's competitive, and to my surprise, it's getting a little bit of parity to it because kids are moving around and all of a sudden everybody's got a couple of big hitters. But I don't know. I just don't know where it's going to end if they don't get control of it.
Hey, Rob, can I say this real quick? Coach, you make a great point. I think the landmark case that's going to determine a lot of this is Georgia suing that player for $390,000.
Yeah.
If Georgia wins, that sheds a whole new light and it gives us a whole new direction on how to handle what Ellis just said about contracts. Because if you can get $400,000 back, man, that's a boatload of money now.
I assume that's money that they paid him up front and he didn't finish the year. Is that?
That's what I understand. But if that case goes in favor of Georgia, that's a whole new approach to how to deal with redoing contracts.
Yeah. Right. Well, the bottom line is when sometimes in businesses, you are paid upfront money to move from firm A to firm B. And y'all know what I'm talking about. It's a 5-year contract. If you leave the first year, You owe 80% of the money they gave you up front within 60 business days, okay? And that's not negotiable, okay? There's not. We have got to stop coddling these kids. I mean, this is absolutely insanity. And so you look at 2 Oregon defensive backs, got their feelings hurt because things didn't go their way. You know, the decorum prohibits me saying the true words that I would like to call those guys. But what makes them human is that they breathe and they use the restroom. That's about it. I would have I'm sorry. I am so geometrically, I'm so myopically, once you commit to something, you never quit. Because as a parent, as a coach, and Ellis is right too, though. This crap of coaches being fired 3 or 4 weeks into the season, it ruins the team's season, and it ruins the school or two that has a coach that school's targeting. Suddenly, his interest is taken away. Matt, I mean, I don't care D1, 2, 3. Coaching, you have to have principles, and y'all are right. You know what made Barney Fife so funny on the Andy Griffith Show was because, you know, I could fart in a bucket and sound better than him singing, but it was hilarious when he'd get in the pageant and they'd try to disguise him. That's kind of what people are watching with college football now. It's that messy.
Well, I don't necessarily blame the kids more than the system. Kind of going back to what Coach Cordelli talked about, just, you know, we don't have any leadership. And one of the things, Coach had mentioned Dante Moore. And so Dante Moore was recruited out of Oregon from Detroit. I think ended up going with Chip Kelly at UCLA, Coach, because Bo Nix decided to come back for that second year, if you remember. So what was really surprising, he gets 5 starts at UCLA, doesn't go well. You know, obviously Chip leaves UCLA. He decides to transfer to Oregon. He sat an entire year behind Dylan Gabriel. A lot of people don't realize this. I thought it was a premature thing to do because at that point he was only 19. So now he's only had, if you add it all up, guys, 18 college starts, 5 at UCLA, 13 at Oregon. I'm watching the game on my iPhone in the air coming back from New York City. I got a guy 6'3", 250 in front of me. He's leaning back. I'm in the back row. I can't lean back myself. And I don't got the sound down, but I see the graphic. It says Mel Kiper Jr. now has predicted Dante Moore the ~1 overall pick. And I'm like, God, stop this crap, guys. But to your point, Coach, they have been re-recruiting Dante for the last month after the season, trying to convince him, if you stay another year, because there's data. I'm going to get Bartoo on this. There's data. You go to Mitch Trubisky with the Chicago Bears, only had 12 or 13 college starts at North Carolina. He's still a good NFL backup, but his career as a starter was not that long. I think if Dante stays, with the guys coming back, they'll have a legit shot to run it back and make a run at a natty next year. But these agents are in the ear, and after Saturday night, first half, it may be too late. I don't know.
Ellis, I don't know if you heard, Matt. I think this is what you're talking about, but Dave had a comment on that several months ago. I think he had a magic number of 21 or 22 plus.
Was that 24? Okay. It's 24
plus starts.
I think he needs to come back. Like even that second interception in the second half, Coach, I think there's some things he still needs to progress at. I wish I'd get Cordelli at Oregon right now and be with him on a day-to-day basis. It's a great place, Pete. But anyway, I think there's a lot. Coach Johnson, you're right. I mean, I think it matters how many at the quarterback position. You've got to have some time to get better.
Sean thing.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ellis.
This is sort of Pollyanna. We're talking about what's happening to the kids and everything, and then everybody wants to just smirk even when you bring this part up. But I would bet there are 3 coaches on here. One of them, Matthew's still coaching a little bit, so maybe it's not a good question yet. But I've been out of it about 7, 8, 9, 10 years now. And if you ask me, I bet, Pete, you feel the same way. What's the main thing you miss about your coaching days? It wasn't the money, and it wasn't the big wins. Damn sure it wasn't some of those trips home on buses after games and all that. I miss the people. I miss my peers that I worked with and the kids that I coached. And they're not going to be many kids that they ain't going to have any reference point on that. You say, we're not talking about that, dude. We're talking about millions of dollars. But I'm telling you, it's going to really damage, if not ruin, a lot of these kids' lives.
Yeah.
Coach,
And
you're exactly right. It's the relationships that we make with our players and the day-to-day interaction. And those kids, man, they keep you young and they keep you, and they are such a joy to be around, especially when you see them progress from freshmen to sophomores. And if we
Right.
have the ability to coach them in that third year, but it's the relationships. But also, I'm going to go by Ellis. I agree 1,000,000%. Hey, there he is, Mr. Bartoo.
Dave,
When
man, look
Sean,
at him.
The
when
Mad Hatter.
Sean Payton was asked about Bo Nix, he said, after reviewing all the quarterbacks in that draft, this guy played more college games and snaps than anybody else I won't experience.
Yep.
Coach Landry used to talk about, people would say, well, does he fit your scheme and technique? He said, let me say this to you. When I look at a player, I want to know if they're football players that have fundamentals and techniques, because I can teach them my scheme.
Yeah.
But they are at such a point, how good are they fundamentally and technique-wise? And what do we have to do to get them better?
Yeah.
Bo Nix playing lights out, but I just believe that the more reps that you get in game situations, that helps you on the next level, because hash marks, number one, are critical because you're playing on a smaller condensed field. There's no wide side in the NFL. The middle of the field's 5 yards wide. Where in high school, the middle of the field's 17 yards wide. College, it's 11. So the routes of your receivers, especially on a post corner or different things, different angles coming out. That's why you got to know your personnel.
Yeah.
But the speed, and I go back to Coach Landry, won a lot of games in the Hall of Fame for a reason. He said it takes 3 to 4 years for a young guy to learn how to play in the NFL, learn how to play quarterback
Yeah.
before he's actually ready.
Yeah.
And now I'm going, well, we got to take this guy in the first round. No, you don't. You look at last year's quarterback class, this year's class, and next year's class. It's a 3-year study.
Yeah.
It's a 3-year study. And if you have a better group coming next year, don't take a warm body. Ellis will take you.
Yeah.
We got limited number of scholarships in college. I'm not taking a warm body to fill that position. I want a damn football player.
Yeah.
One that Bartoo says is off the charts in all his analytical data.
Well, if Bartoo says he's off the charts, then he's off the charts. Merry Christmas, Santa Claus. Hey, Dave Bartoo went to the game in Eugene over the weekend. By God, I love those colors. How you doing, man? And welcome aboard. Thank you so much. I know you got a lot going on, but thank you so much for jumping on this panel. Let her rip, man.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. And no, I was just listening to old man rant. I was doing some community service, checking in on my favorite group of senior citizens, making sure everything's okay here at the holidays. And no, it's I'm kind of sorry I interrupted the conversation, but
Hey, dear Santa, I'm asking one request when you come to my house. Bring more pull-ups. Thanks.
Bring more pull-ups. Yeah. Now so which quarterback are we talking about here?
Dante Moore.
Yeah, I know. Bet against him.
Ooh.
Bet against him if he goes this year.
Oh yeah.
Right. He can't.
Yeah.
Right.
No, look, and I'm not saying that maliciously or anything like that, but Pete is actually 100% correct. The number of guys this century not named Cam Newton that have been a consistent starter in the NFL with less than 1,500 snaps in college football, less than 24 games started, are zero. They all stink. They're all backups. They're all second and third string guys. Nobody sticks except Cam Newton. Okay. So everybody's looking to catch Cam Newton in a bottle and find that and get lucky. But the numbers show that snaps, unless you are incredibly elite. Look, even Peyton Manning started 26 games. Even Peyton Manning had over 1,800 snaps at Tennessee. Okay, but you look at your really, really, really great quarterbacks that are out there. Mahomes started 38 games, right? Had over 2,500 snaps. You know, you start going down the list. Aaron Rodgers started for 3 years. You know, Phillip Rivers started for 3 years. Russell Wilson, 4 years. You know, you just kind of keep going down. Josh Allen started for 3 years. I mean, folks, it's all right there. Everybody goes, well, he looks the part. It doesn't really matter. I don't believe in the whole player development crap or anything like that. I believe in the player's personal development. Up here, are you born with the physical skills? Are you born with the mental skills? You know, and you figure out whatever you're put on the field with, you just figure out how to win football games. It doesn't have to be pretty, but everybody that is successful at the NFL level, almost all of them invariably come from several factors in college football. One of them is, Pete pointed out, is a whole bunch of snaps. The more, the better. You know, there's no this whole, sit on the bench and learn how to play the game. Are you out of your mind? That's how you learn to play the game, is sitting on the bench. No, it's on the field. Any sport, on the field, reps, you know. And so then you look at other successful college football quarterbacks. They don't come from elite programs. They're not surrounded by elite talent. They're tested in fire. They carry the bags every Saturday. And I'm sorry, Dante Moore isn't tested at all. He was tested once basically this year against Indiana, but the rest of the time, completely outclassed, you know? And so for me, does he have all the talent in the world? Sure, physically he does. I don't know what his mental makeup is, but whether it's Dante Moore or anybody else, if I'm his advisor wanting him to become a great starting quarterback in the NFL, stay in college and take more snaps. If I'm his dad, son, you're a walking lottery ticket. We don't not cash lottery tickets. Get that cashed.
Yeah. Well, let me say.
Hey, that's a young man rant. I like that. Hey, the young man rant. Dave? No, in all seriousness,
Yeah.
do you count junior college snaps? Because Rodgers started at a junior college.
Yeah,
before he went to Cal. Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, that's just one guy, right? That's an anomaly there, but that's snaps, right? That snaps. One of the greatest examples is Kurt Warner. Okay, because he didn't have the snaps in college, and he never had that experience. He never carried the bags, and it's still even if I go through this path, it's still the most amazing story in pro football quarterbacking. Okay, but he didn't right out of college. If you looked at all of his numbers compared to everybody else, no, it doesn't fit. He didn't carry the bags on Saturday. He didn't have a lot of snaps. And what the Arena League did, I believe, is it forced him to be the leader and carry the team all the time, and it got him more snaps. And somehow, you know, the football gods blessed him, and everything came together in one magic perfect storm. But I don't think he was who he was right out of college. I think the experience of the snaps and of having to lead the team and doing that repetitively, even at the Arena League level, made that difference. So Aaron Rodgers taking snaps at junior college, at Cal, under talented. I think all those things are cumulative that made him better up here. He had it here the whole time. It was up here that it made the difference.
Well, Dave, people will say, you know, Pete, you'll make a great lawyer, you know, when you're 18 or 19. But you still got to go to undergrad and then 3 years of law school. So you got to, and you talked about Anthony Richardson. Oh, he looks the part. 13 starts in college. Number 4 pick overall. How'd that work out? The same thing. And this is Pete said this yesterday. Give credit always where it's due. Ellis, questions for Dave Bartoo. Santa Duck. I love him, man. Those colors, Matt, I can see why those colors are so cool. They really are. Look at 2 ducks on the show. That ain't never happened. This is awesome. Ellis, jump in here.
Well, if y'all are all in the Christmas season and in the mood to give, my birthday is tomorrow, so just
happy birthday, man!
Happy birthday, Coach.
Pick up something else for the senior citizen. So,
Oh, I can send you something for your birthday, Mr. Johnson.
I'll be 46 years old, man. I don't know how I got here so fast.
Gummies. I love them. Hey, Ellis, when he's talking about with quarterbacks, you talked about as a defensive coordinator, Brother Oliver used to stand in the backfield with the quarterbacks and watch the defensive players' eyes. When you look at a guy like Dante Moore, who's 20 years old, I mean, I've been 20 before and I'm what I am now. It's like all of us have. He's only been 20 before. I'm with Dave and Pete. Everybody's saying it's about reps, and how did you handle adversity? If you've never been challenged, you don't know how you're going to handle it till you have to handle it. There's nothing you can do to replace reality, is there?
Yeah, if I understand, Matt just told us, the kids decided he's coming back and told us a little bit about his track record that I didn't know about the transfer and coming back and all that. I agree with Matt. It does show some maturity and some maybe some growth there. But if he comes back and plays, it's only going to be better. Same thing about the Sellers kid over at South Carolina. Huge predictions going into the season. And whether it was him or whether it was surrounding cast, it was a terrible year. And luckily, he's decided to come back. I don't know if he's coming back to the right place, but he's coming back, and that'll be more snaps. So maybe some of these kids are realizing it. And, Dave hit this thing several weeks ago. It was a magic number. Y'all said 24 snaps was kind of that cutoff. 24 starts, was sort of that cutoff. But maybe some of them are getting wise to the fact that just back off and get you another year. And in 10 years, you'll be glad you did. You'll have multi-millions more than you would have signing that contract and be bench warming for 3 or 4 years.
Dave, in August, the first 3 paragraphs of Arch Manning's Heisman speech had already been written. Garrett Nussmeier, Lenoris Sellers, and Ellis warned about Lenoris. He said, I'm not sure how he's going to handle all this pressure now that he's in the spotlight. Like the year before, he just kind of came on. But look at all these quarterbacks. They're can't misses. They're this, they're that, whatever. And almost none of them at the end of the season were anything for what they were told they were going to be. Kind of tell the story with numbers if you can. I know you can.
Well, I think it's a lot like the coaching searches, right? Is we got to hype stuff up. We got to throw stuff on the wall. We got to make it stick. We got to sensationalize things. And so, I don't blame folks for getting excited about it. And it's kind of cool in a way in that we hype up all of this stuff over here because our eyes and our minds say we should, but we all know the surprise is over here. Right. I think that's one of the wonderful things with college football, with ages when you're talking about 18 to 22-year-olds. You don't know who's going to blossom in front of us. You don't know what team. You don't know what coach. The best part of my job is being wrong because it forces me to learn. It forces me to go back to the drawing board. It forces me to go, wow. Right, I didn't see that coming, and of a lot of guys in college football that try to see stuff coming, I would be guilty of that. So it's great to have that and have that passion because I think it makes the surprises that happen during the season all that much more better.
Matt.
Dave, I now follow you on social media, and we've had a couple phone conversations, and I'm working on the latest email you sent me, by the way, but I haven't. They're a little busy right now in Eugene trying to win some more games.
Yeah.
But, the one thing I wanted to say before you came on, I told the guys I was talking about off-season hires. I'm a big Iowa fan and a huge LeVar Woods fan, and you put some data out on LeVar Woods. He has been incredible at his job for 15 years. Am I right? Like off the charts, incredible. I think now with Pat Fitzgerald and LeVar Woods as the assistant head coach, Michigan State is going to have a significant jump these next 2 years.
Dude, no, you are so wrong, Matt. LeVar Woods is not incredible. He is freaking stupid. nuts good. I mean,
Okay. Well, I thought
no,
you confused me for a second, brother.
Yeah, no. When you look, when you look at special teams grades, he is
unbelievable.
He is so much better than number 2, right?
I know.
Number 1, I go order you to go take a number 2. No, it is crazy how good he is. And what people don't realize too is his linebackers are awesome. He's the head of recruiting, and when he took over recruiting for Iowa, it was flatlined. Okay. Yes. Now, I mean, he is the most unheralded non-coordinator, non-head coach in the country. I firmly believe that.
I agree.
100%. And I've been saying it for years, and our collective team's jaw hit the floor when it was announced Michigan State got him. I was like, no way. I just don't believe Michigan. I could have understood it. Michigan State? Now.
Well, here, go ahead.
Okay, no, well, go. No, you had a thought. Hit me.
No, quickly. So Fitzgerald's son had committed as a walk-on to Iowa. So when he was not coaching, he spent a lot of time there. And obviously, he, behind the scenes, when he got this job, he knew where one of his first hires was going to come from.
Yeah.
The really shocking thing is the year prior, Iowa made Seth Wallace, the linebacker coach, the assistant title.
Yeah.
And LeVar thought he needed that, and he goes with Pat. And I think he's only 48 years old. I think you see LeVar Woods in 3 or 4 years as a head coach somewhere.
We've been waiting for somebody to pick him up. That was one of the guys I was lobbying for Mississippi State when they had the opening. I'm like, go get, because LeVar's from Mississippi. I mean, this guy is a Swiss Army knife of 5-star everything. Right. Now, I will go against you on Michigan State because I don't believe in Joe Rossi at defensive coordinator. I don't believe the offensive coordinator. LeVar Woods is awesome, but Pat Fitzgerald, as soon as Hankwitz left, that entire program became bowl ineligible immediately. So I am holding my breath on what Michigan State can become. Pat's done it. And there was a period there, he was one of the 3 best road head coaches in all of college football. So he's proven it. But even with LeVar Woods, I don't like the rest of the staff to be able to go out and go, man, this is an up and coming program right now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Pete and everybody, when you're looking at these coaches and these trends and you connect the numbers, that what he just said about these coaches that are kind of buried in the show in the crowd in a lot of places. I think what Dave does is so critical, finding the good coaches, and we're losing a lot of coaches right now. So these young coaches, you can't just go to Kroger, say, I want to coach on aisle 7, go over there, that'll win you national championships. Aisle 3, next to glass eyeballs. They're just not. It doesn't work like that, does it?
Hell no.
I didn't think
Hell no. Let me say this to you. Dave Bartoo just brought up a name that was probably one of the most respected defensive coordinators in all of college football, right behind Ellis Johnson. That's Mike Hankwitz.
Oh.
When Hank was at Colorado, people don't understand how good that program was.
Badass.
I know this. We always used to do a study in the spring when I was at Notre Dame. And it was, who's our opponents for the next year? And on offense, I wanted to know who was calling the defense. So who's calling the defense at Michigan State? And you go down the line, whoever was on our schedule. When we got to the bowl game to play Colorado and Hank was there, it was like, boys, we got a whole new animal to deal with here. And you know what? Mike was one of the most respected guys in the profession that never got his flowers. And Hank, when he was with Fitzgerald, that's when Northwestern made a push. And Ellis and Matt will tell you, and Dave, he does it for a living, there are guys on staffs that you go, you know what? This guy's flying under the radar. And believe me, it didn't matter if he was in aisle 1 or aisle 31. That cat was going to have every aisle right on point. And Hankwitz is one of those guys. Ellis Johnson, you talk about going against Ellis's defense. And it's like, boys, we got a whole nother thing to get ready for here. Then you got some other guys you go, please, why couldn't we have them for all 11 games? Please help me. We're getting ready to play Purdue one year, and all they're playing is 4-3 cover one. And Lou comes in on Monday and says, what do you think? Can we score on them? And I said, if we don't score 50, you're going to fire me. Oh, what do you mean? I said, Coach, they got Rod Woodson at free safety. They got Stevie Jackson and Chris Fishman at corner. Guess what? We beat their ass 54-7. Then the next year we beat them 59-10 because they couldn't run with Timmy Browne and Rocket. Go keep playing that, man, and we're going to keep throwing it. That scheme against our personnel, take it to aisle 100. Right.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this. Here's a question from our I love this guy, Dr. David Arnoff. I know him, the best doctor in the Florida Panhandle. He's asking about, Dave, do you know anything about Rocco Becht?
Okay, quarterback at Iowa State, right? And so, again, so this is a guy, is he a 2-year starter right now? I believe he's a 2-year starter.
I think so.
You know, so somebody look that one up. But so the first question is whether it's Rocco Becht or anybody. What were the win losses? Did he elevate the team? You know, did Iowa State win above expectations under his quarterbacking? This year, no. I can't remember what it was last year. I think
last year they were really good. They were really good. But he had 2 receivers that were unbelievable that went on to the NFL.
Yep,
and they ended up, I think, 10-2 last year with those receivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you can Arizona State in the title game. Yep.
Yeah. So some of these things, you know, like when Brock Purdy came out, I think it was October, and I put out a tweet that if this guy wasn't named Brock Purdy, he'd be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Wow.
In October, the year he was drafted.
Wow.
Right? And people go, well, why? I'm like, well, because he's at Iowa State and they're doing awesome, which they shouldn't. They're performing way above talent, and they shouldn't. And their offensive coordinator is terrible. And he's making them look like a genius. Okay? We would call this the Justin Herbert effect. He made Arroyo at Oregon look awesome. Okay. And so one of the things you got to look at is, and this goes back to Dante Moore. Dante Moore is surrounded by elite talent. That's not where great NFL quarterbacks come from. Dante Moore has a great offensive coordinator. That is not where great NFL quarterbacks come from. So you look at Rocco Becht or anybody else, go, how good was this coordinator before Rocco Becht? Because if he was bad and he looks good now, that's Rocco effect. Right? If he was really good and still looks good, there's a lot of offensive coordinators, and Pete and Ellis will tell you, man, you know something, there's something about a coordinator that it doesn't matter which guy that comes in, they're going to be awesome. So you got to kind of look at the environment around a Rocco. I would say for a free agent quarterback, he's above average, but I haven't run all the numbers on every single quarterback. But he's certainly somebody who hasn't won below talent. So that's a guy that is going to be highly coveted just simply because his floor is so high.
Yeah. Ellis, we got a few minutes left. Ellis, question for Dave Bartoo. I love the term elevator. And that's what I would have on a shirt if I were a player or coach. Like, how many of y'all are elevators? How many of y'all are making everybody around you raise your level? And I stood probably 10 feet from Cam Newton when his jersey was retired October 11th at Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. And he was up there with his kids. And man, I'm going to tell you what, he just led it from the heart. He said, look, I'm the face of that team in 2010. But he reeled off like 8 or 9 teammates real quick, including Neil Caudle, the backup quarterback, who held on the snap to kick the winning field goal to beat Oregon. I know Dave is grimacing at that one. I remember, but he talked about the people around him. But I heard that Cam would be watching SportsCenter at midnight and would see something about another player, and he would get motivated and go out and run 5 miles and go work out even harder. That he is a freak. Ellis Johnson jumped back in here with this, but this is absolutely awesome stuff.
Cam played one full season of major college football, and I had to coach against him twice. So don't tell me anything about Cam Newton. I've seen all of it. And y'all want to talk about me being so good. Y'all forgot to tell him, okay?
Hey, you know what?
Listen, Dave, we broke down all the playoff games before you got on, and my Aggies, they brought Molly Whop to the game. Molly came out of the locker room, and Whop never did come out. So they got their butt beat.
Well, they did. I mean, and A&M.
Hey, Rob, I don't want to burst your bubble. Hey, Rob, I don't want to burst your bubble. That jersey should have been retired at Mississippi State because he made $180,000 from Mississippi State, and then whatever y'all paid him. Come on, dude. Auburn doubled the money.
It was an opportunity.
Talk about the NIL before NIL was legal between Mississippi State and Auburn. Now, come on.
It was a lot more legal then, too. It was a lot more regulated.
Yeah.
We need to go back to the blackmail system, the whole system. Let's go back to the Bagman and all that. Because I said yesterday, y'all, this wasn't perfect before all this happened.
Yeah.
So 6, 7, you know what I mean?
That was back when the recruiting coordinators' offices were in the trunk.
Yeah, located conveniently so they can make a quick getaway. All right, guys.
That's why the Allman Brothers wrote Midnight Rider.
That's right. Absolutely. Look, we've about run out of time, unless Brendan says we can go long.
No, we're ending this. No, it's Christmas, Rob. We have to buy presents and get off the air at some point.
Yeah, but look, this is look, hempforpros.com. Guys, Dave, you got a lot of people watching this show that got aches and pains. They can't sleep at night. I got one of my boys is 27. He doesn't sleep at night. I said, take these gummies. Tell people what they need to do to get hold of you.
Yeah, well, as you and Pete know, one of our most popular products is actually the pain relief topicals, warming gel, cooling gel, the lotions. You got aches and pains, go on the website, hempforpros.com. All December, use coupon code Friday 2025. For 45% off. So great stocking stuffers there. But hempforpros.com. It's a partnership with the NFL alumni. So everything we've been doing helps benefit NFL alumni in need as well.
Yeah, well, look, this is great stuff. Absolutely love it. And all of y'all have a Merry Christmas. We'll be back next Monday. And thank you more than you know for everything you do. It just gets better every time. So have a great day, everybody. I fucking love it. All right, let me say.
That's for you, Cordelli.
Thank you.
LandersFordMemphis.com. They're open every day of the week. Still got time to get in there and get a Christmas car, truck, or SUV for your wife, for your son, or just for yourself. Ask for Brad Bellamy, the general manager. They're open. Poplar and Houston Levy, best corporate partner you'll find anywhere. Down the street, Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. They've got Filson, they got Barber, and over 7,000 pairs of men's and women's and even kids' boots. Charles Hall, Laura, the great people out there can't get better than Hewlett & Dunn. And Rumble Boxing, how you fight is how you live. And as we said, hempforpros.com. Bottom line, if you go there to the hempforpros.com website, you can order the chill, the energy, the lights out, but those pain topicals, I'm using one right now for a shoulder injury. They actually work and there's no sleep hangover. So look, for Brendan Martin, executive producer, all of you watching, we'll be back on tomorrow morning. Merry Christmas. Everybody have a great day. Most often we see the face of Christ and the least among us. We're out. Good night.